Hey everyone, welcome to Data Week. How is everyone doing? At least in here where I'm located in Mexico, it's like 8 p.m. So it's still a little bit early. I remember having some streams like at like 1 a.m. or something. So, Chad, where is everyone located? How are you doing? Today we're going to have an amazing stream where we're basically going to build an awesome dashboard using Streamlit. And particularly, I like Streamlit because it lets you build like really fast apps and deploy them like real quickly. And they're very useful when you're trying to do like, for example, hackathon projects. At least I'm still a student, so it works for me like really, really well. And at least the first time that I discovered Streamlit, I have never like ended using it. At the beginning, I was more like a person that used like like normal frameworks like Flutter, Node, T3, those kind of like complete frameworks. And after I discovered like everything that Streamlit has to offer, I was just like, okay, this is very cool. Like I can just build a dashboard in like 15 minutes, which usually took me like 1 hour to build using like a regular framework and having to learn like how to organize everything and how to make it look pretty on the front end. And with this Streamlit, it's just like viewing everything like real quickly, and you just have to type like 2 lines of code and you already have like a nice title with an image, and it is like very smooth. So this workshop will basically be divided into different ones. Today is a part 1, and then tomorrow we have our part 2 of the workshop. So for this first part, I want you to start learning about what is Streamlit, how can we set it up on our VS Code. Then we're going to, play around with all of the things that are on the docs for Streamlit. And then after that, we're going to make our awesome dashboard and we're going to display it on our local host. And then we're going to connect it with several nice tools to make it, complete. So after this set of workshops, you will be able to publish your website on the web completely hosted, and you can already have it like on your project portfolio, and everyone can basically see it on GitHub. So we're going to start off. Let me present. Firstly, I don't know why my camera is looking like this. But yeah. I'm going to share screen because I prepared a really fast presentation, and then we're going to go directly into coding, everything up. Yep. Let me just move this over here and add this to the stage so everyone can actually see it. There we go. Hold on a sec. There we go. I'm actually getting used to stream content, so this is kind of new to me. So let's start going just pretty quickly about how everyone has ever been in a situation like where you're located in a hackathon and you want to build like a project like really quick. You have like 24 hours to build like a dashboard or build like a web app, and you want to do it like pretty quickly. Then I got you there, because today we're going to learn about how to use Python to build a Streamlit app. So what is Streamlit? Well, Streamlit is basically an open source Python library for web apps. You can find it on the web, and it is pretty easy to set up. it focuses itself on making, minimal code and making your app look seamless and just make it look nice. And Streamlit is also open source, so you can actually contribute to this on their open source and repo. It will be kind of like a nice side quest to do. Streamlit basically divides itself using widgets for user interaction, and it has easy deployment with various platforms, which makes it like really user friendly to use. For example, you can integrate it really quickly with NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Plotly, and it is the perfect tool to visualize, complex data sets. For example, you want to visualize perhaps a .csv file, or you want to make a table look nice, or you want to make like interactive graphs or maps for your users to view on your app. And Streamlit just basically fills all of that in. So we're going to go real quick to the documentation in a bit so we can actually see what Streamlit has to offer, and then we will begin building our project. So what are we going to be building? As I already told you, we're going to be building a smart recitebook project using Streamlit, and we're basically going to build this seamless app using Python merely. Then we're going to integrate it with MongoDB, which is a database. In case you're not familiar with it, I'm going to walk you in on how to set up your free cluster as a student, and so we can store all of our recipes in there. Then we're going to use Llama Index, which is a Gen AI model, so we can actually generate recommendations on our recipes that we will be creating today. And I decided to use Llama Index so we can find several free models to use in there. And finally, we're going to deploy our app on the Streamlit cloud so everyone can actually see them, and we can actually have users to use our application. So let's go directly into the docs. For you to find it, you can just search streamlit.com online. I'm going to use this MLH link so you can actually see what all of the tools that Streamlit has to offer. So we're going to go through the basics, which is basically the installation over here, and we're going to use the command line. So as we will be using Streamlit, we have to have Python installed. I'm assuming that most of the hackers here will need to have Python installed. In case you don't have Python installed, you can just follow up the instructions over here in order to fill up these requirements. So once we get that, we're going to go all the way over here, and we will actually have to install it just like a regular, package in Python for those who are familiarized. I'm going to run this with you so we can actually do it together. Let me just open up a VS Code tab and make it a little bit bigger. Just there we go. So terminal, new terminal. Oh, it's taking a bit to load. But well, we're basically going to run pip install Streamlit, and then we're going to see which version of Streamlit we have installed. As for my case, I already have it installed, but it will appear the same as for you. You just have to run this command that we have here. I'm going to copy paste this, and then I'm going to paste it here. Pip install Streamlit. I don't know why it's taking a long time, my terminal to load. It shouldn't be your case. It should be faster on your computer. That's just because I'm running like 100 things on my computer, and it's not like a really good one, so sometimes it tends to be a little bit laggy. But well, once you've finished installing Streamlit, you should be good to go, and you can actually start using like everything that Streamlit has to offer in comparison to other. Oh, there it is. But well, as I was saying, in comparison to other frameworks or tools that you can find, such as, for example, Flutter or Node.js, you actually have to go through several steps and, like install the SDK or importing like a lot of dependencies. And with Streamlit, you just basically have to install its module and you should be good to go. So after installing Streamlit, then we can go to actually start coding our project. Let me just go back to see if we are missing something. Nope, we're good. You can actually test it by running this hello app that is, for example, just to verify that we have everything installed. Let me see if my terminal is not like very laggy and see if this actually pops up our application example. Let's just wait a while. For your case, it should be pretty fast. It should pop up like an example app. And in case it pops it up, then we should be good to go to start with our dashboard. And yeah, in the meanwhile, I'm going to show you like the different sections that you can explore over here. I'm going to walk them with you through day, but in case you want to get like more inspired, then we can actually like, oh, there it is, the app that I was running. Yeah, so after you run Streamlit Hello, you should see something like this, which is pretty, it is just like a demo about everything that you can do with Streamlit. This is actually a really nice example of all the tools that it has. You know, this looks actually pretty cool. I described Streamlit, basically, it has the front end of like a note app, but it is more like a fancy Jupyter notebook when you can have like really nice code visualizations, and they are really appealable for, you know, users who enter your app. So I'm going to close the example app to continue with our project. And firstly, we already did this, so we already installed Streamlit and we are ready to go. So on your VS Code file, we're going to go to the Explorer section and we want to create a new project. So you can use any empty directory that you have, and you can choose whether you want to locate it. I'm going to locate it in here. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to create it. I'm going to name it Recite Book. I'm going to click on Select Folder, and then it will open up on my VS Code. So always remember that if you have any questions or you want me to go slower or to go back to a section that I was explaining before, you can just pop in a message on the chat and I will try to answer it as better as I can. So now that we are actually on our project directory, we're going to basically start creating the root of our application. So most applications, or for example, web pages, have different, you know, types of folder organization that you have to follow to make your app actually compile. So for Streamlit, it is actually pretty straightforward. I'm just going to create like a simple script that it's going to call home.py. You can actually name it any way you want, but I strongly recommend that you name it something related to the homepage or main dashboard, or, you know, like main screen, something related to like your root page for your application. So for my case, it will be home.py, and then we're going to start actually coding using the Streamlit module. So I'm going to do import Streamlit as st. Why? Because in Python, you know, we do things like import pandas as pd and import numpy as np, and well, Streamlit is just basically st. So I will disable Copilot because we don't need it right now. If we need it later, I will activate it in case we have questions, but for now I will disable it. Yep. So on Streamlit, as I was saying, it is pretty easy to write things and just output things in our dashboard. So for example, if we want to write a title, it's just as simply as typing st.title, and then you go like, oh wait, my keyboard is in Spanish. Let me change it to English. There we go. So it's just as easy as doing st dot, and then the thing that you want to actually call, in this case, it will be title. And then we will do the double quotes and just write like, for example, this is a title. And just like that, with this we will be actually creating the first page for our dashboard. So to run our script, we have to create a new terminal, and then we will be writing the run command is just basically Streamlit, and then run, and then the name of the page that you actually want to run. So for my case, I want to run home.py. So I will write home.py. Just enter, and it would load, and it will output me two links that I can actually use to visualize my application. Oh, can I zoom in? Yeah, I'll zoom in on my VS Code. Yeah, so as we can see, it is just as easy as doing this. This should be better. The size is better in here. Let me just remove this so we have a clear view. There we go. So as we can see, just by writing this, line, it already gives me like a nice page with the title, and you can visualize it just as basically writing in Markdown. So let's start adding more things to our dashboard. So this will be our title, and then perhaps I want to add a divider. So I'm going to make comments and do st dot, and in here we can actually see all of the examples that Streamlit has for us. You can actually go and experiment with all of these widgets that Streamlit has for us. You just have to click on it and choose it. For example, in my case, I will be choosing the divider widget because it will actually create a division between my main title and the content that I will be writing below. So just by doing this, I can go back to my app and then just hit reload. And as we can see, we already have a thin line over here that it's basically the division between the title and the content that I will actually have on my dashboard. So after that, once we have a root for our homepage, I will actually go back to my project directory and I will start creating like different pages where my user will be able to navigate through once they are on my web app. So to do that, Streamlit is very strict on how you locate your pages. So for this, we have to create a folder that will be called pages. It has to be called pages in order for it to work. So we call our pages folder, and then I'm going to add a page in here that will be called, let's call it view underscore recipe.py. So I created a script inside my pages folder, and this script will be basically a new page in our application. Let me show you how this will actually look. And then I'm going to do st.title, as we already learned that, and I'm going to write, hello, this is a new page. And as we can see, we have our main script, we have a new page called viewRecipe.py, and now let's see what my dashboard shows. So we can see that in my dashboard, I now have a nice sidebar that has both of my pages. So it has my home page where I place the main title, and then we have the view recipe page. And we can actually see something in common over here, that it's the name of my script over here is actually the name that my page will have over here. So you can actually name the script the way you want it to be displayed over here on the sidebar. And we can actually see that the content of this script will be shown over in this page, which is actually pretty nice, I just did created two scripts, and now it has it has like both of the contents over there. So let me just go back to let's go back to our home script, and let's start creating now the structure of our dashboard. So I'm going to delete this. Well, no, let's leave it. So as we can see, over here on the tab name, the tab name, it looks kind of, it doesn't look good just having like home or having like the name of my script. I actually want to personalize this to make it, a bit prettier when users actually use my application. So to change that, we can do st again, and then we're going to write page set page config. So this will actually make to change the name of the tab where the user will be located, and you can actually just page slash, oh, we there is, I'm looking for page title, and I'm going to place it like home. There we go. So it will actually be better. And you can add emojis to make it look prettier. It is also valid. I do that like most of the time. And after that, if we go back over here and we reload, we can actually see that it changed to home, and it is not like the long name that was displayed, earlier. Remember that if you have any questions or you want me to go a bit slower, you can always, tapping in the chat, and I will answer pretty promptly. So after that, we actually want to create our main functions to make, to start building, the structure of my dashboard. So for that, I'm going to start writing again a title, but this time I'm actually going to write, recite book project, for example. And then perhaps I want to add an image, and with that, I just type image. And then inside here, there are several options. We can just add, the direct URL inside the double quotes, or the more, organized way is to actually create it and access it from our project directory. So to actually make that, I'm going to go to my project directory, and I'm going to create a new folder that will be called assets. So we have our assets folder, and then over here, we're going to add, all of the images and assets that we're going to need for our project. So I'm going to go online, and I'm going to search for, let's search for enchiladas, which is a really nice Mexican meal. And I want it to be, the main display for my application. So you can save it. You're going to save this image. I'm going to call it enchiladas. Oh, wait. Yep. And then I'm going to open my project, the folder directory, and I'm just going to drag the image that I had into my assets folder. So you can go and search the image that you downloaded and just, drag it. Oh, I'm sorry. My computer, it's kind of laggy. Yep, so it's not responding. Well, let's just continue with the next section and wait till it responds. So after that, there are several things that we can, oh, wait, I misspelled title. Yep. So after that, we can just write, for example, st.text, and then we can start typing, for example, this is a nice recite book to generate cool cooking ideas using AI. Yep. And I'm going to add a divider after the title, st.divider, to make it, separate. Yeah, so this is actually a pretty nice question. So yeah, you can actually, once we publish our application to the web, you can actually open it on your device, and it will just lay out everything out pretty nicely. In case you have like 2 columns or 3 columns, it would just align to, what's best for the device. And it is pretty, it is something pretty nice when you try to showcase your project, to your friends, and they just usually open up on mobile devices, and sometimes it's just, pretty laggy, or it just looks weird. So Streamlit doesn't do that. Streamlit is pretty responsive and it works pretty well. There are some cases when the columns, for example, if you have like 3 columns on your Streamlit, then in that case you will actually have to specify, like, for example, depending on the width, then you will actually have to use like just 1 column. But that is like pretty weird. Like, I have never seen a situation where Streamlit is not like fully responsive. But yeah, that was a nice question. So let's see if my folder directory responded. No, it has not responded. So I'm going to close it. I actually use Mac as my main computer, but right now I said, like, okay, why not use my Windows to actually get to working with it. Yeah, now it decided to load nicely. So I'm just going to drag the image that I had. Or no. Well, you know what? You go ahead and add the image to your assets folder, and you can just, type the location in here. For example, assets, then dot slash, and the name of the image. So for my case is enchiladas dot jpg, but I'll just wait till it decides to load correctly. And in case it doesn't, as it is happening to me, then I'll just copy the link from the online image. I'm going to click on where it is, copy direction, copy image direction, copy image direction, and then I'm just going to copy paste it, the direct link over here. Yep, that is. Oh, I pasted it on the text section. Nope. Command undo. I'm going to paste it over here. There we go. So now I'll go back to my dashboard and let's see what happened. I'm going to reload this. Oh, there is our image. And we can actually see the text. This is a nice recipe book to generate cool ideas using AI. Nice. So after that, you can just go ahead and customize the homepage, however you want to add, like, perhaps you want to add like a subheader. So we can add subheader and recognize, learn how to generate recipes. Yeah, you can also add, for my homepage, I try to make it, look as clean as I can. For this case, I'm just typing like different widgets that you can use to make your application look nice. You can make combinations of headers, of texts, or links, or images, and you can actually set the width of the image. And we'll see that later. Or, well, no, let's add it right now. So in here, we're going to see that we have an option to use column width, and we're going to set this to true. Yeah, perfect. So as I was mentioning, you can actually play around and add different widgets and different things to our homepage. For now, I will move to the next page so we can actually give it a shape and we can move forward into our dashboard. So I'm going to return to the viewer site page. And for this, we already have this, and I'm going to call it visualize your current recipes. Nice. And then we're basically going to create a collection of the recipes. Why? Right now, we're just going to hard code them into our dashboard. But for tomorrow, we will actually be using MongoDB to, fetch those recipes that we actually want to visualize in our dashboard. Right now, I just want you to see like how we're going to, give shape to our application. And tomorrow, and by the end of today, we're going to start, mixing it in with the backend that we want to be implementing today. So we're going to have several fields. So we want to actually have like the name of our food. The first one, oh, I'm sorry, will be enchiladas, which is a really nice Mexican dish. If you will ever be into Mexico, you should definitely try it out. So then we're going to add an image. And in here again, there are several options. You can add it directly from assets. I will be adding the direct links as my folder directory. It is kind of crashing right now. Not sure why, but well, let's just use the other image. Then I'm just going to copy paste this and replace it with different names over here. So instead of enchiladas, I will have tacos. And then perhaps I will have sopes. Writing all this food is now making me kind of hungry. What else? Empanadas. Nice. So in a while, I will search for some images online. But right now, we have already created, like kind of like our recite book. It is kind of hard coded, but I will promise you it will not be this way by the end of the workshop. We will actually make it better and integrate it with our backend. So now we actually want to display this information on a nice grid layout. So Streamlit doesn't actually have this kind of widget that is called grid layout for some other common frameworks, but we have something pretty similar that it's called creating columns in different sort of arrays and sizes. So for that, we actually have to iterate over our recipes mini dictionary, and for that we're going to just iterate over it. And then to create a new column, we're going to, this is just the name of our column. You can basically name it however you want. It can be column, it can be col, it can be cm, just name it however you want. And then this variable will be equal to the equivalent of our column in Streamlit. So again, st dot, and then we actually create columns. And then inside our column, we actually want to specify how many columns we will have and what will be the width of our columns. So for that, it will be this and then this. And in this case, it will take like, let me just check because I remember depending on the numbers. Yeah. So depending on the numbers that you have in here, it is the number of columns and the width that it will take to actually create your columns. So for this case, I will just create 2 columns and they will be like the same size, the same width. But in case you want the columns to be of different widths, then you actually had to add a third number that will be the equivalent of the width, depending on which column you are located. So for now, I will just have 2 columns with the name and the image to make it look like pretty nice on our dashboard. And then we actually want to, iterate over the first column to let my Streamlit dashboard know what I will actually be placing over there. So I'm just going to say, okay, my column, wait, this is, I named it call. So my column, my first column will actually have the image that I want to display. That will be recipe, and then it is a field called image. There we go. And then we actually want to say that the width will be, let's say 50% of the container. And in that way, I'm just saying that on my first column, I will have my image. And as you might be guessing, we will do the same for the second column. That will be basically the number 1. Why? Because in arrays, we start counting in 0. And I will add it as a subheader, so it actually displays a little bit bigger. And it will be recipe, and this will be name. And there we go. Let's see if it loads up in our dashboard. View recipe. Oh, I think it should be double quotes. Yeah, I think I place regular quotes in here somewhere. My bad. I didn't know Streamlit was kind of picky with these things. And I'll add the link that I had over here. So we actually copy paste this. I'll just copy paste the same link because we want to go a bit fast. It will be just enchiladas all the way through, but yeah, just to see if it displays in our dashboard. I think the error was actually that I had nothing displayed for my images. I think that was the actual error, not the single quotes. Let's see if that fixes it. Refresh. Oh, there we go, but it is kind of small. Let's make it bigger. So I think I placed 50%. I'm just going to go for 100% to see if that actually makes it look better. Yeah, so this is actually nice. It looks better. It's just enchiladas all the way through. So now I'll create a second page where we will actually be letting the user create like new recipes or new dishes. So for that, let's go to our pages directory, and I'm going to create a new script that will be called recipe. No, it will be called add. No, where is my underscore? I'm not kind of familiar as to this keyword, and I'm not seem to find it. But well, I'm just call it dish.py. And in here, let's just start doing the basics as st. Then we're going to add a title. Now I see why my keyword changed. There we go. So add a new dish as you wish. Oh, that actually rhymes. It's pretty nice. So after that, this will be kind of like a formulary that will be connected afterwards with our backend. That will be basically the Mongo DB cluster that we will have running. And this script will actually send, the information that the user inputs into our database. So for now, let's just start creating, different fields that will actually represent like a regular form, the equivalent in other frameworks that we have. So for that, let's create different variables that will have the different fields. So what is important to have in our recipe book? So we actually want to have the recipe name. There we go. I found the underscore now. Our recipe name is a text. So this will be a text input. And in Streamlit, it's just basically text, and then we have the different options. It will be a text input. And as a label, I will have recipe name. So whatever you write inside the text input will be basically the label of your text input. And you can see in here that there are different, customizations that you can actually do to your text area or your text input or your number input. For my case, I'll just write the recipe, the label for recipe name. So I also want to have ingredients. And for ingredients, I can also write text input, but text input just takes like one line. So for this, I want to actually create like several lines to make the area look bigger. So for that, I'll use the text area, and I'm going to type ingredients. Perfect. So I'm actually thinking what else to add. Oh, yeah, instructions. So we want instructions, and the instructions, they will also be text area with, because they will be like a large chunk of text, and this will be instructions. And after that, we can add one that is like cooking time. Cook time. And in here we can actually, cooking time is actually a number, so we can actually use the number input widget from Streamlit. And for this, we actually want to, specify. Well, first let me add like cooking time, the label. And then I'm going to add the step, the type of number that will be this number input. So for example, in other frameworks, we have, different types of variables like integers, doubles, float, that kind of stuff. In Streamlit, we actually, as we are using Python, and Python, just directly like decides the variable type that the variable is, we actually have to specify like what our number input will be receiving. And to do that, you have to place, step that will be basically in how many steps will my number be, adding up. So if I want it to be an integer, then it will have to be 1, because I want my cooking time to be like 140 minutes or 20 minutes, not like 1.45 minutes. That will be very specific, and I don't think we need that for our simple recite book. So then we can use another widget for the difficulty of our recite book. And for this, we can do a select box where the user can actually select from different options. So let's just type our label, that will be difficulty, and then we will be basically adding, like, for example, we want it to be easy or medium. Oh, this keyboard is giving me a hard time. Hard. Yeah, so easy, medium, or hard. And let's just also add an image, because our dashboard will actually display images of our users. So we will do again st, and then I'm going to do image. Wait, it's not called like this. Upload. Oh, there we go. File uploader. And for the file uploader, if I just leave it like that, it will be basically, you can actually like upload anything that you want. But to specify the user like which types of files that we will be receiving, then you have to do like the type, and you have to select, for example, GPG, or wait, I think this has to be like this. If not, I will correct it afterwards. PNG, and just add all of the file types for an image that you can actually think of. Second time writing it with an R. Yeah. So now that we have all of the elements for our forms, this will actually not display anything because we have it stored in a variable. So if I delete the variable from here, it will actually display, like, for example, the the text input. Let's just go back. Oh well, I was wrong apparently. Yeah, so don't mind what I just said. But you actually want to store it in a variable because, for example, when you want to make form validation, you actually want to know, like, what is the name of my text input number one, and to make that, well, you have to create a variable for this type of object. And this is actually something pretty nice for Python because you just have to write like the variable name and then just place like whatever widget you want to use, and there will be like no issue of like variable type or constraints from the programming language. It is pretty straightforward. So after that, we have to validate our forms, as I was saying. So for this case, we actually want to place like two buttons, and then we want to display like a celebration message if all of the information that we inputted is correct. And otherwise, if there is like a missing field or something that the user didn't upload correctly, then we want to display like a warning message like, hey, you missed out this field, just like regular form validation. So for making this, I want to actually check. I want to create my two buttons, and I want to check if they have been clicked. So to make a little bit of context on how buttons work in Streamlit, you know what? I'll just create a regular one in here. SD button, and I'm going to place it like send recipe. Then I'll go back to my dashboard. I'll reload this. And then over here, I have my button, send recipe. And it is very nice because if I hover over it, then it actually changes color. And, for some of you that already have like previous programming languages using other frameworks, making this hover thing is sometimes kind of, well, not complex, but it's definitely not as easy as doing one line of code, just like really short script to display like a nice button on our dashboard. So in here I just have a clickable button, but it doesn't do anything, right? So I actually want to check if the state of this button is true. So for that, I'll just do if SD button, it is default, the state of this. If it is clicked, then if I want to send it, and I also want to check what. Okay, I think I had my computer just turned off. Yeah, so I think everyone is hearing me right now. If not, post it in the chat otherwise. Yeah, so as I was saying, we want to check if the button state is true, and for that I'll just do if sd.button and then send recipe. And then I want to check if my fields actually have some information. So to do that, I'll just do if, and then I'll just type recipe, name, and ingredients, and instructions. If these elements have information, then I'll just display a success message. And to do that, I'll just do streamlit.success, and in the parentheses I'm just going to write like recipe was sent correctly. There we go. And Otherwise, if there is no, information in those fields, then I want to display like a warning message, like, hey, you didn't complete these fields. So to send an error message, you can just write st.error, and then you want to type please fill the missing fields. There we go. So recap of what we're doing here, we're checking if the state of our button is clicked. If that happens, then we're going to check if these three fields have information, and then we want to display a success message if it was sent correctly. And in case the user did not add any recipe name, ingredients, or instructions, then I'm just going to display an error message. So let's see how this actually. Oh, my screen is frozen. Let me stop screening, and I'll present it again to see if it is sharing now. Thank you for mentioning that. So I think you are, yeah, I'm seeing it on the stream. I don't know if everyone in here can. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I was just waiting for a yay message. So I just basically added these to our script. As I was saying, this first line just checks if the button is clicked. If the button is clicked, then I'm going to check if the recipe name, ingredients, and instructions field actually have information. And in case they have information, then I'm going to display a success message. And in Streamlit, it is as easy as writing st.success. And then if there is no information in those fields, then I'm going to display an error message saying like, hey, please fill these missing fields. So I'm going to go to my Streamlit to actually test it out. I have to refresh my browser over here. And let's start typing. Let's add, what am I thinking? Let's see, let's add normal food, pizza. We have dough, then we have tomato, and so on. And then perhaps I want to do, mix the dough, and I'll just add cooking time 120 minutes. I'll do a difficulty medium because perhaps it's difficult to mix the dough and all of that. And for image, I'm just going to leave it empty because this is not actually a required field, so it will just be empty over there. And I'm going to click on send recipe, and everything is correctly. Why? Because I placed the three fields that I actually made them to be required. And as we can see, we have a nice display message. So let's delete the recipe name to see the error message, how it actually displays. Send recipe, and here we go. We have an error message saying, please fill the missing fields. Okay, that sentence is kind of redundant. I'll perhaps change it later. So yeah, so now we have our page where we will be adding the information to our database. And let's make another page to actually query our database where we will be, perhaps searching for our recipes. So I'm going to create a new page that will be called search.py. And let's just start with the basics. Import Streamlit as st, and then st.title. Find all of your recipes in one page. And then we're going to create a variable that will be our search query, and this will just be a text input. So as we saw earlier, for a text input, it's just writing text text input, and I'm going to click in here, search for a recipe, perhaps. Search for a recipe by name or ingredient. Nice. So we have our search query, and then we want to check if the search query actually has information. So for that, we do if search query. And then for now, I will just hard code the results that our search query will actually display. But I promise you, this will not stay like this, and we will work on the backend on the next part of our workshop. So I'm going to write the information that my search query is actually, displaying. And for that, I'm going to do search query. And then I'm just going to write some example results in here. And these example results will be the ones that we will be actually fetching from our database when we make our query on MongoDB. So for now, I will just do st.write, and I will place, for example, enchiladas. And then I'll just do st.write tacos. And for this, I'm going to make it a list. Oh, wait. And you actually have to place it in here. So right now, you are seeing that I'm placing, the line to make like kind of like a bullet list. You can visualize Streamlit kind of like a markdown GitHub page. So Streamlit is actually very compatible with Markdown. You can actually just code in Markdown directly doing st.markdown, and then inside here you can actually place like your Markdown content. So just write like this, and you can use Markdown to write whatever you want. So perhaps this is a title, and then we have like the bullets, and we have like the list. And if I go back to my page, we can actually see this Markdown widget being displayed on our dashboard. So let's go to our new page, that is search, and there we go. So this is actually depending on what you actually feel more comfortable with. On my case, I prefer using, Streamlit widgets. Why? Because it is more organized. I know that this is my right widget. I know that I have my text input in here. And, for the Markdown, it's just like writing everything inside this, code widget. But Markdown can sometimes be pretty useful when you're trying to just like copy paste documentation from your GitHub repository, or perhaps you want to write like copy paste code from somewhere, and you can use Markdown for that. It will make it like so much more easier. Just in case you want to try that out, it is a different widget. So let's actually test if our search query is working. So basically, the condition that I place in here is that if my search query has information, then that will mean that it will display like all of this information. Again, we will change this later and make it actual queries from our MongoDB database. So let's go back and let's go search. Let's just type wherever, do enter. And we actually have our query in here. And then we have, the example query results that my search bar will actually be displaying online. Yeah, so for now, we already have our homepage where we will be, homepage for our project. We have the add dish page where the user can actually add different dishes and can add different recipes, images, difficulty, cooking time, and so on. We have our search bar where we can search for recipes on this page. And then we can actually visualize all of my current recipes on a nice table display. So for now, we're going to see different things. We already have, like the main structure of our dashboard. Um, you can actually modify it with the things that we learned today to make it look, nicer. Right now, as I was kind of like just doing it on the go without thinking it through too much, it doesn't look like really pretty, but you can actually, add more information. You can add different columns, you can add different links, you can even use Markdown to customize your main dashboard, and so on, to make the different pages, look better. A really nice trick that I learned from one hackathon was that on your pages folder, if you go to the files and you can rename this, to actually add, emojis on the title to make your, oh wait, I want to, wait, no, I want to add an, did I actually, no, I didn't delete it. So I want to add emojis so they can be, pretty on my screen, but I don't remember how to get emojis. So let me activate Copilot and tell him to display me some emojis so I can actually use them. So print me some emojis. Why? Why can it assist me with that? All right, so I'll just search online emojis. Oh, it's plus dot. Okay, let me try that. Let me try this first. So how do I type plus dot? No, that didn't work. Windows. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. So for my dish, I will place a B emoji. Let me take this B emoji from here. I'll rename this. I'll paste the B emoji, and then I'm going to do an underscore, and I'm going to call this dish. Let's rename this. Always remember to add the underscore, because with the underscore, it's just basically like an space on your dashboard. So if we go back to our dashboard over here, you will be basically seeing, like the V emoji and then the dish, and it looks pretty nice. And you can just follow this example for the other pages to make it look like much more better. Um, so now let's go back to our dashboard, and we will be actually moving on to the next section of our stream, where we will be integrating MongoDB to actually make some cool things, as I was mentioning at the beginning of this workshop. So before actually going directly into MongoDB, there are some things about Streamlit that we want to know before actually, going ahead and creating our cluster and generating, the credentials for some of you who have already used MongoDB before. So when we're actually, dealing with sensitive information from APIs or, important keys that we actually use, we want to have, for example, a .env file that we added to our git ignore, and so on, so our information is not actually leaked into the public. So on Streamlit, this actually works different, and we have to create a specific Streamlit type of file that will be, integrating directly into our application. So I will be explaining what this is. So for this, we have to create a new folder, and this folder has to be strictly called dot and then Streamlit. So this folder will basically contain configuration files for my application. This will have nothing to do with the display of my application. It will just be, you can see it as a config file, you know? And inside this folder, we will be placing another file that will be named secrets.toml. So this secrets file is our equivalent of the .env file. So for some of you that are not familiarized with .env files, these types of files are basically files that allow us to add, like sensitive information. For example, if you have, I don't know, like your Google account and you want to log into your Google account, you're not going to display like your password and your username, like just hard coded into your code, because that will not be a good practice when you publish your project to GitHub. So to make that better, you had to add it to a secret file. So for Streamlit, it is called secrets.toml. And in here, we will be actually adding all of our sensitive information that we will be using later, such as llama, keys, and MongoDB URI cluster link. And so we also have to add our .gitignore file. So this file will basically just tell that I don't want to publish this directory into our GitHub repository. So I usually create these files when I'm actually creating the repo on my GitHub. But as I don't have any GitHub repository creating in here, it is just basically in blank. I will just grab an example of one gitignore from a public template so we can actually fill this out. Let me go to GitHub to grab like a free an example. I'll go to some of my repositories. Let's see. Let me search where I have one. I think this should have one. I'll copy paste the gitignore from here. I'm copy pasting it from here because it is the quickest option for me, but I believe we can also search it online, gitignore Python template. And we will see that it is actually on GitHub, and you can just basically copy paste the same from over here. Yeah, that is actually better, So I'll go back to my Visual Studio, and on my gitignore, I'm going to press the information from my file. Let's do that again. So on this file, we want to make this project disappear from my project directory, so it is not visible for my GitHub repository. So people online don't actually, like steal my credentials and just like start using my money from there. So to make this, I'm just going to tell Git that I don't want to include this project into my folder directory. So it should be good just by writing .streamlit and then the slash. Perfect. So by now, we already have our assets folder. We have our pages with the different information. We have our main route directory. We also have our gitignore file. And we also have our credentials file over here that right now it is empty, but soon we will add some credentials over there. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this repository on GitHub. So in case you want to see it later on, or just see the examples that I have been writing during stream, you are more welcome to do so. So we're going to publish our GitHub repository. I'm going to click on the source control tab from Git over here, and I'm going to click on publish to GitHub. And I'm going to call it recite-bug /mlh. No, I'm going to call it Data Week because we are in Data Week. And I'm going to make it a public repository. There we go. Nice. Yep. And if we go back, we actually see that the .streamlit folder is kind of shaded in gray, which means that it will not be published on my GitHub profile. Yeah, so it says successfully published. So let's go back to see if we can find it. Let's go back to my profile. This is my GitHub user in case you want to search it up later. It's just my name and my last name over there. Um, Recite book data week. Here we go. Nice. So as you can see, we are not able to visualize our credentials folder. That is because I ignore it from the Git, directory. Perfect. So you actually want to publish your project to GitHub because this will be an important step for our next stream. Because in our next stream, we will be publishing our dashboard on the web, and we will be using GitHub as a tool to actually publish it online. So if your repository is not public and it is private, then you will not be able to deploy it on the cloud. It's just a quick note that you want to have it on GitHub. Perfect. So now let's go into MongoDB. I'll just go back to the presentation real quick and do a recap. Yeah, so we already saw, a really simple example of how to apply Streamlit. But there are endless opportunities about what you can do. If you are more experienced in the coding, perhaps you want to deploy a trained machine learning algorithm as a mobile web app so users, can visualize different informations and predictions over time. It is also possible. Or perhaps you want to, do like a GPT wrapper to do sentiment analysis. You can actually do that too. And Streamlit has a lot of different templates that you can actually use to just like getting started real quick. So now let's go and move forward into our next section where we will be using MongoDB. So for a brief context, for some of you who have no idea on what MongoDB is or how we will be using this, so MongoDB is a non-relational database, which means that it is a non-SQL database, or SQL, as some of you may pronounce it. So I actually prefer non-relational databases, as I believe they are much more quicker, to visualize. Um, yeah, so I'll send the link over on the chat, so you can actually start creating your free student account, and you can actually make use of all of the resources that MongoDB has for you. Perfect. So we're going to go directly into there. I already have an account created, but I will use another Google account to make it the same that you will be seeing like in real time. So let's just follow me through into this walkthrough on how to use MongoDB. And we're basically going to sign up using our Google accounts, or any mail accounts that you have. Then we will be creating our database. For the case of MongoDB, they allow us to have one free clustered database live. If you want more space, or if you want to create more, then that actually costs money. But we will only need one, and that should be enough for all of your hacker and dashboard projects. So let's go and see. We can sign in with the GitHub, but I don't want to do that because that is actually the account that I have created. Let's see. Sign in with GitHub. No. I'll go to the regular page. MongoDB. So let's just go to the regular page, click on the MongoDB icon, and you should be seeing a page that is basically something like this. And I don't like it that it is. I'll be changing it to English so you can actually see the same that I'm seeing. I have my computer in Spanish, so sorry for that. I will change it for the next stream so you can actually follow everything through. Perfect. So now, why is it not in English? All right. Well, we're going to click on this button that says login. Perfect. So now it is in English. So I'm going to log in with Google. Oh, whoa, what is going on? Oh, it logged me into my default account. I'll open an incognito tab so we can all be on the same page. Um, perfect. So I'm going to search MongoDB. I really like Brave. It's really nice. Log in again. Nice. So I'll just Google to log in, and as I was saying, I will use a new account. So we actually follow through this. So just go ahead and start creating your free MongoDB account for me to follow through all of the steps. If you have any questions or if you're not able to log in, remember you can always ask on the chat and I will respond promptly. Nice. So you're just going to click on accept privacy policy. This will take a while, perhaps. Nice. So I'm just seeing that I received an email that says that my account is set up. And now we should be seeing a page like this that says, welcome to Atlas, let's build something great. And it just basically, one of those forms where they ask you, what do you want to use their platform for? Just feel free to um, select anything that you want. So I want to build a project. So perhaps I have more than a year of experience. We will be using Python. So let's actually select Python over here. And what? So I'll select streaming data because we will be streaming data. Not really. So I'll just do not sure. Nice. So fill out all of the information for the forms, whatever you want, and then click on finish. Nice. And so you will actually see that this is kind of like a pricing options, and perhaps you will be scared and see, oh no, I don't want to use my credit or my debit card to put it into their system. So you're good. You don't need any credit card to actually use MongoDB. You can just select the free option. We're going to select this free option, and we're going to write the name. I'm going to leave it as default and call it cluster 0. I'm going to select AWS as our provider, and I'm just going to leave the region as default. So just leave everything on default, or in case you want to change the cluster name, go ahead and change it to something proper for our project. Perhaps you want to call it like Recitebook and so on. But I recommend writing a general cluster name. Why? Because we are on a free trial, so you will only be able to create this cluster. So if you write something else, a specific for the project, then perhaps you won't be able to recycle it for different projects. I believe you can change it after you create it. We will check that later if you can actually rename it. So I'm going to click on here and that says create deployment. So I believe this will take a while sometimes because it is actually, creating the cluster and connecting to the AWS servers online. And you should be seeing this pop-up that says connecting to cluster 0, which is the name of the cluster that you wrote earlier. So in here, this is actually important information that you want to, pay attention to. Why? Because right now, MongoDB is telling me, okay, you have this current IP, which has been basically allowed, and only this IP address will be, able to connect to our project clusters. So, what this basically means is that only your computer in your current location will be able to connect to your database. So, it might sound kind of confusing, but this is actually how it works when working, with bigger companies or with more complex projects. You don't want anyone to access your database. Why? Because it has sensitive information that you want to keep, really protected. So after that, you have to create a username and a password. So just remember that you want to remember this password. So you can actually change it to anything that you want. For the example, I will be just typing a simple password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Um, yeah, so any of you can see it, and we can actually move a little bit faster. And as username, I will leave my regular gamer username, which is Pollo Gumpao, and just a weak password for now, for the example purpose. After that, I will click on choose a connection method. Oh wait, create database user. Oh yeah, so it's telling me that it's too weak. All right, so I'll just generate the password that they want. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on a second. Let me just um yeah. So sorry about that. So let's just type a random password and I'll copy this. And then you're going to click on create database user. Nice. So now we have actually created our database user, and we're going to choose now our connection method. So what those connection method means. So connection method is just basically how you will be accessing through MongoDB's services. So you can access, through the command line, you can access to VS Code, you can access through Java, you can access to AWS, and so on. So for now, I'm going to connect to my application from the drivers, and we can actually select different drivers over here. It doesn't have to be Python strictly. We can select any programming languages that we want, but for now, it will be Python. And right now everything was just like auto completed really nice because MongoDB integrates really smoothly with Mongo. So I'll leave everything as default, and here are just basically like the instructions that we want to follow. So the first step, we already chose Python as our driver, and then we actually want to install our driver into our script. So let's copy paste this information, go back to our terminal. I'm going to create a new terminal, and I'm going to paste this. Yeah, so for me, it's saying that this is already satisfied, but for most of you, it will actually, start installing all of the necessary packages for PyMongo. And PyMongo is basically the requirement necessary to running MongoDB on Python programming language. So let's go back. And now that we have installed our module, then we have the third step that says add your connection string into your application code. So our connection string is actually a really sensitive piece of information that you don't want to display online, you don't want to share with your friends, you don't want it to be public in any way. Why? Because this string is actually kind of like the password and access key to get access to your public cluster. So if you share this with more people, or if you publish it on GitHub, then anyone will be able to view your database. And this has your username and this has your password. So if you publish this online, then everyone will be able to see like your password. Yeah, so let's copy paste this information, because this will be my string URI that I will be using later on. And I'll go back to my VS Code project. Then I'll go back to secrets.tom. And now I can actually add my first key over here. I'm going to call it URI equals to, and then I'll just paste the URI key that I generated before. Nice. So let's go back to our Mongo cluster. Wait, where is my cluster? Edit configuration. No, that's not nice. I wanted to actually see the example. Well, I mean, if you actually went back the way that I did, no need to worry. I will guide you through into the dashboard. Just make sure that you copy paste the Mongo URI and add it into our secrets Tom file for Streamlit, just like this. URI equals to, and then your MongoDB link. So, and now we already created our cluster, but it is not public right now. So we just created it, but it is not public. So what we want to do is to connect to this cluster. So we will click on connect. We already did this. And yeah, so this is actually giving me a code example that I want to copy, so we can actually check on Python if it is connected correctly. So I'm going to copy paste this, and we will be using it later on to make an example script. So you're going to click on done. Why is it not publishing? Let's see. So I'm assuming that it is already connected. I mean, it usually takes more time to connect, so that's why this is being weird for me. Let's see, database access. So that's just me. I have my project clusters. There it is. Yeah. So I think it is already public, so we should be good to go. Yeah, this is already good to go. Nice. So let's go back to our VS Code file, and we will add a new script that will be called mongo.py. And in here, we're going to paste the example script that was on our Mongo DB. This will just basically make us ping our database to make sure that we are ready to read information from there. So we're using PyMongo, and then we're basically using our string URI that I was telling you that this is a really sensitive piece of information. For now, I will leave it in here, but when I commit it to GitHub, I will not leave it in here. And then you create a Mongo client, and then you just ping our instance of our public cluster. So as we can see, we have to replace this piece of information over here with our DB password. So I created a random password, which is this one. I'll just copy paste this one over here. And you actually have to delete the signs. Nice. So then we can actually, where is, hold on. Where is my MongoDB tab? Oh, here it is. So what we're going to do with our script is that we're going to ping my cluster 0 or whatever name that you were adding, and it should return a success message. So to run this, then you're just basically going to click on run over here. Let's see what it says. Okay, so I got an error saying username and password must be escape. Right. So when you are using, for example, special characters, as you can see in my password, I have this, and I also have like the hashtag thing. So for MongoDB URI to actually understand what you're parsing in, it is a good practice to actually divide like your password, your username, and your URL link to make it understandable for MongoDB. So for this, we're going to go to secrets.tom, and then we'll be actually adding each piece of information. So I'm going to write in here Mongo because this will be the title for our credentials, because they are basically Mongo credentials. And then I'm going to type one credential that will be basically my username, then another one that will be my password, and then another one that will be my cluster URL. In here, I'm going to type my username. So my username is this, and then my password, which is this over here. And then I have my cluster. My cluster link is this. So your cluster link should start after this sign. I don't know what is the name of this sign in English, but it should be after this sign. And then you're going to copy paste this link over here. Nice. Perfect. So let's just delete everything from the question mark. So you want to delete all of this. We want to copy paste this. Yep. So now it is more clean. Oh, important notice. You have to add the quotes over here. Otherwise, it won't read your credentials, correctly. Wait a second. There we go. Double quotes are important for your secrets to be understandable. And then after that, we're going to go to our Mongo script, and now we can actually delete all of these. Why? Because we already added into our secrets file, so it won't be necessary anymore. Nice. So right now we just have this. I already deleted the URI, But now we actually want to bring our secrets into our Python script. So in order to do that, we have to import them. So first of all, we have to use Streamlit. So from Streamlit, no, I'm sorry, it is import Streamlit as st. And then to use our secrets, we are going to use the same pattern that we have been using all along, that is just basically doing like st, which is our call for doing Streamlit uh, processing. So for that, we want to create the variables for each of our secrets that we have over here. So we have username, we have password, and we have cluster URL. So we want to do username equals to, and then we're going to call the Streamlit secrets. So to call our secrets, we just type secrets, then parentheses, and then to actually, no, I'm sorry, it is not parentheses. So remember that when we were writing our secrets, I told you to place a secrets title over here that it is called Mongo. So to access our secrets, we actually have to access our Mongo title first, and then we can start accessing for all of this. Why am I organizing this in this type of format? Because then when we have more credentials, you can actually have, I don't know, like open AI keys, or you can have like, I don't know, another API, and in here you will have like another key, and in that way you can actually have the same name as you have over here. So for example, in here I can have another username, but I know that this username will be my OpenAI keys username, and this username will be the one from MongoDB. That is the reason why I'm placing this title over there. But I'll just delete the examples. So for that, I'll have to place this before, so Mongo. And what do I want to access? I want to access my password, my username. And why am I getting this? Oh, so you have to place it in double quotes. Nice. And after that, I'll do password equals to st.secrets, and then I'll do Mongo, and this will be password. And then we have the Mongo, no, it is called cluster URL st.secrets. Yeah, I'm typing really poorly right now. I feel so terrible. Mongo, and then this will be cluster URL. Nice. So we already have the three variables needed in order to construct our URI link. So to make that, we want to create a variable that it's called URI. And in here, I'm basically going to paste my Mongo URI that I had earlier. So in case you forget where to obtain it, I'm going to fetch it again from my Mongo DB cluster. So you click on connect. Oh, yep. So connect, drivers, then go all the way down. Yeah, and I can just copy paste the URI, which is basically here. Then I'll go back to my, where is my script? To my script, and I'll paste it in here. And I was missing, perfect. So in here, I actually want to add my username. So to add my username in here, I'll just add it in the keys, username. Oh, and for this, I have to format the text. So to format the text, I'll just do an F beforehand. Then I want to add the DB password. So to add the password, you'll just do the same, but with password. And then for the cluster URL, this is a cluster URL. So you actually want to delete this and replace it with your cluster URL. So it will be cluster URL. Nice. And your URI should be something like this. And this is actually the same pattern for anyone. So you can actually copy paste this and it will be the same for you. I will make a commit right now to, in case you want to add it, MongoDB connection. I'll commit this in case you're following the repository. So I will actually maybe make some changes as for layout of our dashboard. So tomorrow it is a bit more prettier, and we can actually go through, adding more backend implementations using LLMs and making crude operations with MongoDB. So right now I should be able to connect, but as I was getting some error about the password should be escape, we will be using a library to make things, as coded. So this library is I actually wrote it on my notes. URL IB from URL lib. I'm going to import. So it's actually URL dot parse, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I might want to. Yeah, I think it's not URL lib. There we go. So what this library will allow us is to basically escape our secrets credential. Why? Because apparently MongoDB doesn't like when you actually hard code like the text in there. So we want to make it escape. So to make that, we're just going to use the code plus model that we imported, and we're just going to, make everything in the same format. Code plus, and then we're going to, this one we can leave it as it is because it is it is like it is a URL. So this is only being picky because of the username and password. So now I believe we are good to go. We have our username, we have our password, and we have our cluster URL. And we already have our URI formatted as it is saying here that it should be escaped. And for that, we are using quote plus library. We are pinging our deployment, and all of our credentials are safely stored in our secrets.tom file. So I'll run this script again and see if we get a success message. Let's see. Nice. So it says ping your deployment. You successfully connected to MongoDB. So this means that we are good to go, and now we are able to actually make requests into my MongoDB cluster. So let's go back to our MongoDB dashboard and see how our cluster status is going. Nice. So for that, let's go on view monitoring from our cluster. Let's wait for the dashboard to load. And right now it's completely empty. Why? Because we have not made any requests and we have not accessed it as for its collections. It is basically just an empty database. Yeah. Wait, this actually has information. So for you, it should be empty. I think it should only have this collection, the sample MFL Netflix um, collection. So let's go through this. Can someone confirm if this collection is visible for everyone, just so I can take this as an example. I'll assume right now that everyone can see it. So MongoDB basically divides itself into having, collections, and then having the elements for each collection, and it has the names tagged into over there. So I'm going to return to my presentation because we're almost ready to go, so I can just wrap up. So today we basically learned about Streamlit basics and how to build our app, and we learned how to set it up. We learned the basics about handling data, and we were able to actually set up our MongoDB cluster and successfully connect to it. So tomorrow we will be making some CRUD operations using MongoDB, which means that we will be able to read and write and delete information from our Streamlit dashboard. We're going to make some final details in our app to make it look a little bit more prettier. And we're also going to integrate an LLM model from Llama Index to make auto-completions for our recite book. And finally, we're going to deploy our app into the Streamlit cloud so you can share with your friends and you can publish it into your um, project portfolio, which is actually a really nice and complete project because we are basically, connecting to a database. We will be using an external API and you will be deploying it on the web. So for me, it is like a nice, solid project for you to build. So as a final note, I published my code repository into GitHub. So again, you are more than welcome to follow my GitHub and see the project that we created during this stream session. I will be updating this project during tomorrow, and yeah. So I'll stop screening, and I just want to close by saying that I will see you tomorrow because we have another stream at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. It might be different for some of you, but yeah, stay tuned, and I hope to see you everyone on the next stream so we can wrap up our project and we can actually deploy it online. Bye. Have a good one.